Hi everybody, it's Marc Laurenson here, and we're continuing on with the South Node through the Sign series. And in this episode, it's episode number 11, we're going to be talking about the South Node in the sign of Aquarius. But before we get into that, I'd just like to talk to you about our mini course that I'm going to be running. It starts at the beginning of May, and it's going to be a course based on bringing the nodal story together, the past life story. So we're going to be looking at the nodes by sign and by house, of course, but we're also going to be looking at the rulers. We're going to be looking at all the aspects involved with the rulers and the aspects involved with the nodes themselves, and pulling the whole story, the whole past life story together. And so this is going to be a 5-week mini course. It's going to be one webinar a week. It starts on Sunday, May the 3rd here in Australia in the morning, which will be the 2nd of May for our American viewers in the afternoon, and the 2nd of May quite late in the evening for the viewers in the UK. And that's also going to be on the 2nd of May. If you do happen to miss the live recording, you've got it for good. You can watch it as a replay and you've got it for good. If you are viewing this after May, if you are viewing this YouTube clip after May, it will be on the Sydney Astrology in the Sydney Astrology School store, and it's available for purchase there. So if you want to register, just go to the Sydney Astrology School website, sydneyastrologyschool.com, and on the home page will be the mini course and all the information, and you just click on register and you can be part of the mini course that starts very soon. So let's talk about the South Node in the sign of Aquarius. So when you're looking at the South Node in the sign of Aquarius, everybody, there is a feeling that comes in with this around frustration, stress, anger for some people, and for a lot of people there's some sadness that comes in with this as well. Because when I think of the South Node in Aquarius, I go down 2 categories, and often these categories will overlap for a lot of people. You're going to get one category that goes down the road of being the rebel, the archetype of the revolutionary, of the radical, fighting for freedom in some kind of way, or fighting for what they believed in. But there's a feeling of having to fight against the status quo, or fighting against something traditional, or fighting against something that's trying to make them be something that they're not. Then you're going to get the other category. You're going to get a category of people who were ostracized, isolated, people who were shunned, people who were not accepted, made to feel wrong, made to feel bad for who they were because they were different, because they were unusual, because they didn't fit in. These people could have been from a minority group of sorts, or who were just foreigners in a way that didn't fit in with the so-called normal or usual way of doing things. And because of that, they suffered. A lot of people were punished because of this and went through a lot of personal pain because of this as well. Now, as I said, these 2 categories can actually overlap, and these people can actually turn into rebels. Well, the rebels were rebels because of what was going on that level. And so you get a feeling of people who are not accepted for who they were. And so when they come into this lifetime, it's very challenging for them. It's very difficult for them to come into a place of feeling whole and feeling loved, and feeling that they can come into this world and be approved of. Now, there's something about the South Node in Aquarius that goes down the road of being part of a group, part of a community, or part of a tribe. And this whole group of people, or this whole area of society, was not accepted. And you were one of them. You were many. You were one of the many, so to speak. And so you could have just been a face in the crowd, which makes you feel very insignificant, and you were treated that way, like you didn't matter, like you weren't important. Now, this becomes really important because you've got to be looking at the South Node in Aquarius in the context to the North Node in Leo, which is trying to take you into a brand new territory, which is all about the celebration of the self, basically. It's about coming into a place of this is who I am. Here I am. And it's about being able to put yourself out there and feel good about who you are. And as I said, to really embrace yourself on the level of personality. And this is about believing that you matter, believing that you have something important to offer, that you are a valuable commodity. And there's a sense of being very, very generous with this energy. I always think the North Node in Leo needs to shine. It's a creative energy, and so it needs to co-create with life, and it needs to come into a place of joy, and it needs to come into a place of purpose. And if it wants to create, it wants to create on can create on an artistic level, but it can create on a very concrete level as well. And so you get a feeling of the South Node in Aquarius coming in on the back foot. And as I said, not necessarily being accepted, and now needing to turn this one around and turn it into something that now becomes not only accepted, but becomes celebrated as well. So when you're looking at the South Node in Aquarius, you can actually go down all the archetypes of what these people could have been. The archetypes of the inventor, the archetype of the innovator, the discoverer, the forward thinker, that kind of thing. A lot of people back in the day paid with their lives for doing this. People who spoke up against the governments or against the royals with their ideas, with their new ideas, not only didn't go down well, but were punished severely for coming up against the powers that be at that particular time. So there's another energy that gets carried in with the South Node in Aquarius. So you feel that there's something about the South Node in Aquarius that comes in almost on the level of being apologetic, a feeling that who they are isn't good enough, or who they are isn't right. Now, as I said, with the North Node in Leo, the North Node in Leo now has to be the healing energy for the South Node in Aquarius. The South Node in Aquarius now gets replanted. It gets replanted in a brand new way. And to not feel bad or not feel that you have to edit yourself anymore. There's this feeling of your authenticity, your uniqueness, your originality now becomes a big, big part of who you are. This is something that you not only can come to terms with, but you need to be able to express in some kind of way. So for you to be able to come into your own, be totally 100% authentic, to not have to apologize for yourself anymore, to come into a place where you don't edit yourself anymore, and to find areas of life where you can find joy with this, and you can create with this, and use this as part of your life in a really, really super positive way, then this is the way for the South Node in Aquarius to be healed.